the child is drunk just because it's Christmas. So I grew up not liking that period. Then again, I also grew up not liking Christmas just because people made so many bad decisions in the aspect of they would waste all this money. Now, if you are an African, and even depending where you come from, if you are an African, you know that schools open just maybe a week or two after Christmas, right? And you find that most parents and people are paid early. People waste all this money, and then you'd find parents struggling, parents distressed, and children sort of like there was this struggle when it's time for them to go back to school because of all the peer pressure that came with Christmas. So because of that, I grew up not liking Christmas. So this is what God was saying to me, right? God was saying to me that a lot of people and a lot of you around this time of Christmas have had a very negative experience, right? You had an experience where when you grew up, or you had an experience where you grew up. Listen, there are some people who are single, not single moms, who are married, but absolutely hate this time of the year because of who their spouses become around this time of the year. Some people like, I just didn't, it's just too much effort. Listen, if it's supposed to be fun, it's supposed to be fun. I just never liked the idea of like cooking 10 dishes. I just don't understand it. You wake up early at like 4 a.m. and you cook 10 dishes, and by the time you cook 10 dishes, you're tired. You don't even enjoy the day. You don't even want the food. Now, that sounds like a very privileged problem. But that's part of the reason. I just found that it's not enjoyable. I never enjoyed it because of that. And then after that, you had like 50 dishes to wash for the entire extended family. If that's not you, that's wonderful. Sometimes in African homes, they don't want to use paper plates. You know, it's great in the Western world. You're all about everybody brings a dish, everybody does their own share in minimizing the work in Christmas, but that's not everybody's testimony. I can tell you, someone watching this someday is probably a new makoti, like a new bride, and there's all this pressure on you to perform. And just because of that, I just grew up not liking it. But here's something I realized, and here's something that God was ministering to me about. And He was ministering this to me just about when the live cut off, and He was ministering this to me just this week and just now. Now, I made a vlog. Hi, hello. We're not gonna be inconsistent around here, okay? So I made a vlog, right? And I talked about the fact that if something was one way in one season, it doesn't necessarily mean that it should be that way in another season. So here I am, okay, in my almost 30-year-old self. And here is Christmas time, okay? And here God has blessed me with this wonderful sweater, right? And here is Christmas time and I'm alive. And why am I still dreading Christmas? Why am I still stuck to the things of the past concerning Christmas? And what God was ministering to me about was the fact that, you know, you don't have to get anchored, or you have to grow out of regrets. You have to grow out of like things and patterns and ways, like things that sort of weigh you down just because of how you grew up. Do you understand? You have to sort of like grow out of it, and you have to sort of don't be anchored to a negative experience. Don't allow a negative experience to sort of like dictate the rest of your life or dictate how your festive season is. Like with me, I just grew up not liking festive season. I didn't enjoy it. I just felt like okay, but um that doesn't mean that now I should not enjoy Christmas, right? That doesn't mean that now I cannot enjoy the festivities of Christmas. And here is a word, and this is something God genuinely put in my heart for someone. There is someone who is watching this, and there is someone who will be watching